What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to Our Way Out. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you for the love. Today we're doing a very special episode because we have a very special person with us that means a lot to us. So without further ado, we want to introduce Sarah. Sarah, hi, welcome, and thank you for coming. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to having this conversation because you've always been the person that always sat down with us when we met. You'll listen to us, and you'll give us advice. So we see you like a sister, and we're just honored to have you here, right, Jeremy?
Oh yeah, for sure. You've been someone that I've looked up to since I came home. Someone that's been always resourceful and helpful, and it's great to share space with you here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, guys.
Yeah.
And we met Sarah back when you were working at ARC. I believe when I met you, I was still incarcerated. I was there with your brother, and you used to come in, and it was around the time where they were doing TED Talks, or they were getting prepared to do a TED Talk in our prison, in our yard. I think
What year was that?
that was like back in 2015, 16, around there. And it was actually I was looking forward to being part of that event because they had like Richard Branson coming. They had the Jabberwockies, and me personally, I have never experienced anything like that in my life. So, to like have that come to our yard inside the prison where we were at was like mind blowing. That's where we met.
Was that like your first time going inside an institution, like to do an event that big?
I definitely, yeah. I had never seen a TED Talk. That was my first time seeing one ever, and my last time actually in person. And it was in a prison, so that was pretty amazing. And in a prison, as far as the events, that is probably my first. That might have been my first. As far as like with the work with ARC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what inspired you, Zara, to get into that work, into that field of like helping incarcerated youth, men, women?
Yeah. So it's interesting because because of my own life experiences being system impacted, or as I'm not formally incarcerated, but growing up during a time when a lot of my friends were being washed up into the system, right? The 90s. My brother, my brother's been inside 32 years. So
Wow.
as much as I didn't necessarily set out to, and I didn't say like, I'm going to go work with formerly incarcerated people, but I did, because of my life and because of my upbringing, say, I need to go help people that have been impacted the way I was, see what I can do. So I started off by, I was doing like gang intervention through my church years ago, maybe like 25 years ago. And then because I already had my daughters, like there was only so much I could do as far as like, I didn't go to school yet. And I went back to school, got my bachelor's degree, and while I was raising my daughters. And then I went into case management. So, but yeah, because of the life that I lived, that's what drove me to want to help. And then I landed in helping people coming home, which was really interesting because at first it started like, I want to help people who are impacted by the street, by gang life. That was my story. And then, and it evolved into all of the people that went to prison and were getting these crazy sentences. It's like, now I'm seeing them inside, or like seeing them when they come home at this point, which is pretty crazy. But that's what inspired it.
That's pretty cool. I wanted to kind of touch up on that. and ask you. I know you said you got into it because you grew up in the area, and your brother. And you think that like the knowledge that you knew and like experience was able, like you were able to like use that to like educate people and like talk about what's needed and like what type of resources are not in the areas that you grew up. You think like that also like that information helped like kind of like build or like when people came home for reentry, like kind of
Like my
set them.
personal experience?
Yeah.
Definitely. Like what I didn't have is part of what drove. Growing up, I didn't have the resources that a lot of people have now.
Right.
Like the help. I was pregnant at 16. I was on what felt like I was on my own because mom was like, oh, I guess you're old enough to be on your own if you're old enough to have a baby.
Baby, yeah.
So I was out the house and trying to figure it out. There were no resources that I could remember. I remember like looking for them.
It's tough.
And trying to get help. And
At 16 years old.
like
Young mom, teen mom.
yes. And it was a very lonely road. And so my experiences definitely impacted my ability to help other people and my drive because little by little, as systems started to change or like just society started to change, and specifically being from LA and all of us who were a part of the gang life and trying to change our lives and trying to get help, little by little, I started seeing different organizations pop up and it's like, how can I be a part of that? So I figured it out.
Yeah.
Started with church. I was like, okay, they're doing gang intervention, which is interesting. I was just like somebody who was formerly gang involved who was like, hey, you want to be a part of this? Right. And that's where it started when we didn't really have resources in the community officially. And we would meet like at a recreation center at a park.
Yeah.
Do what we can. But that, so yeah, I think what I didn't have, and also just has helped me to serve other people too, or like my gang life, former gang life has helped me to relate to other people that experience the same thing. So
it's the relatable part too, that when I came home, now going to ARC, meeting people like you and others, is what like gave me like that comfort to like be able to express what I was going through, because I kind of like knew that I was understood because it was from like people that walked my life, and like it helped me a lot, like dive into like how I wanted to change my life. The relatable part is like what helps a lot of people like be comfortable and help that transformation,
Yeah, because you don't feel judged.
Yeah, exactly.
And I met your brother. I was in the same yard with your brother. It's crazy to think that 32 years he's been incarcerated. That's almost as much as I've been alive. And to like land in the same spot where he was at, it's kind of blowing my mind right now. How was it for you?
The circle, huh?
Yeah, it's a trip. And how was it for you, like losing him to the system, and also seeing him for the first time when you were able to go to the yard through work?
Wow, yeah.
How was that?
Man, I'm already tearing up because it's like an ongoing, I hate to claim it this way, but it's like an ongoing grieving process of like, it's never going to end. But there's been different seasons to it. But when he first went in, I was 19.
19.
I was 22, I think. And he got 25 to life. And I remember saying to myself, like, you have to act like he's dead.
Yeah.
Wow.
In order to be okay. And I really went into survival mode like that, mentally, because I had at that point a 2-year-old daughter already. And I was like, how am I going to get through this with another loss? Because I had already lost friends, the death and gang violence. And and suicide at that point. And so I was like, this is another death. So you have to treat it that way. And I went into survival for a long time.
Yeah.
And I did visit him a few times, but then I realized how prison just sucked in my brother and made him an even more hardened person. And I wrote about this. I don't know if you ever read that article that I wrote. It went into the newsletter with ARC's newsletter called Through the Eyes of a Sister. And I talked about how I said he was dead. He was dead to me. And I also talked about how he became a more hardened criminal inside and more equipped. And that was really hard to watch. And so when I would go visit him, I remember the last time, or not the last time I visited him, but at the beginning years of when I visited him, he was in Tehachapi. And I went, and I remember just how hardened he was and how different he was. And I was like, I don't want to come back here.
Yeah.
Because he was just a different person. And like the whole persona, he had already adopted it and was like, and so that was hard. I felt like I was losing my brother for real, like at that point, because
the system was sucking him in.
Yeah. It was during the time when there was no prison reform happening. So he was,
for a hard time.
Hope was hard.
Trying to climb up the ranks, right? So that he could be at the top of the, whatever that means, right? There. And so that was devastating for me. And I think that I was so used to being in survival at that point in my life still, that I just kind of swept it. I don't know. Might have cried once.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, like you have to go on this mindset where like, all right, he's pretty much dead to me, because, us being in there, I feel like we go into a similar mindset, and I could relate how you get hardened, because I know for me, when I was in there, I had to forget about the outside world, because if you think about it, like if you think about out here society, you start stressing. All the things you're missing out on, and what you could have done different. So you kind of have to block that out of your mind, and also kill it. Like, all right, I'm not part of that world right now. This is my world at the moment, so I have to focus on this, and do what I gotta do to survive. And I could see why, like you become numb to like the world out here, and you become a different person in there, because you hope, like especially at the time that your brother was there, where there was no like ARC at the time, like hope was probably like none, and you have to face the reality of like, man, this is probably it for the rest of my life. And like you said, you want to, even in that world, you want to be a somebody. You want to like you said, climb up in the ranks or whatever. To some, not to everyone. But you do get sucked into that world.
Well, that's when you were talking about it, and you said it that way. It brought me back to that part where I was like, damn, this is gonna be my life. Like I just, I gotta stop communicating. And my thought was like, I gotta stop communicating with people in the streets. At the time, I had a girlfriend, and I was like, man, I'm 15 years old, writing. It's like, you know what, just go do your life, because I'm going to be here for a lot of time, and I don't want to think about love. I don't want to think about you cheating on me. I don't want to think about all these things that are going to bring me stress. I'd rather just concentrate and focus on this life. And I relate to how you say your brother just got hardened, because that's what it made me. Like, it hardened me. Like, I didn't want to feel nothing. So I remember just not being able to have any emotions growing up. My only reactions was like anger and like aggression quick. Like if somebody didn't agree with me or something, I went straight to aggression, right? And I let everything that I let go fuel me to feel that. So for a while there, like I didn't, I had lost hope. I didn't care about being loved or loving anyone, just, like none of that. Like,
Oh,
yeah, like is gone. But that's a messed up way of living, because prison teaches us not to hold emotions, or like express how you really feel, or you're like, or if you're crying or anything like that. They don't want to see none of that, because that's, for them, that's like like a time to like take advantage, like
weakness.
yeah, it's a sign of weakness. So that the system's crazy, because that system will do that to you.
Yeah, that's crazy. And do you feel like your relationship with your brother has changed since?
Yeah. So I think you had asked me another part to that question. And it was, you asked me something about seeing him in prison.
Yeah,
Right? Through work. Definitely has changed. So I want to say about 10 years ago, probably longer at this point, Scott Budnick, he met with my brother when he was in Salinas Valley, pulled him out, met with him for about an hour and a half, told him, if you do well for a year here, we'll see about having you moved.
Yeah.
So that's how he ended up at Iron.
Oh, well, yeah.
That was the beginning of his change, I would say. I didn't realize how much of a gamble, how much of a chance he was taking by like helping him to get moved, right? So because I didn't understand the depth of my brother's like lifestyle in there, right? Like the entrenchment of that world, prison world, and politics. And a lot of me just didn't want to know.
Yeah.
Don't ask questions. Gotta learn that on the streets, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be involved. Don't ask questions. You don't know, So I never really asked questions. And to this day, like my brother and I haven't talked about most things.
Yeah.
That's political in there. But ever since he moved to Ironwood, like he started his change. And that was about 10 years ago. And then we started talking. There was a whole span of about almost 15 years where we didn't talk because of the way he was talking to me over the phone. Then I just stopped answering. And I was like, I went cold too. I was like, hey, I could do this too. We were both rejected and abandoned children. This is second nature for me. Right? Like I went into the real survival with him. It's like, yeah, you can't talk to me this way. And so we stopped talking for a while. And I don't even remember when we started, but I know that I was already at ARC. I started with ARC in 2014 to open up our first housing program. And I remember a few months in, Scott was like, I didn't know you had a brother who was incarcerated. What? He's just like, how could you not have mentioned that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, because it's deep politics. Like, I just wouldn't talk about it because I'm like, there's nothing to talk about. I don't know what he's involved in. I don't know who he knows. I don't want to be associated, right? I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
So, but then that's when he ended up going and pulling him out and all of that. And then my brother found out that I was doing this work out here. And he was like, I think Scott really had like a talk with him and like, your sister's out here working, doing all this work and like pushing SP2C, right?
Yeah.
Which was afterwards. But at that point, that's when it started shifting and we started talking. And then also when like we were able to, when calls became affordable.
Yeah.
Right?
That was the other good.
But collect calls back in the day.
Damn, yeah.
They add up.
I couldn't talk to my brother at all.
It's expensive.
I've written about that too, where it's like,
do you remember the bill?
That destroyed us, our families.
Do you remember like how much one?
Hundreds of dollars.
Shit, yeah.
And that was meant to destroy, not
keep families apart.
Keep families from communicating. I feel because it was expensive, and you think about like, man, do I really want to speak to others? Yeah, it cost me like 2 spots for like 15 minutes.
Money on the
yeah. So there was no way to have any connection with him because of that too. And so I found out about GTL and how our global telling put money on your phone and actually have some calls for decent
Price,
rates, right? So we started talking, but when we started talking, we were both in survival. Like,
Still.
who's gonna shoot first?
Wow.
Literally, our conversations were like going at it because he was still shedding the layers of who he was.
Yeah.
He was aggressive and, send me money or whatever. Manipulated
a package.
Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not having this. And I didn't have enough understanding yet of what
He was going through.
I had to do a lot of work within myself during that 15-year period where I felt like I had enough time. Well, I chose to do work on me. That way I could circle back with him and say, okay, I'm here now. Let's build a bridge to our communication. So, and that was when he was at Ironwood. And then fast forward, my first time seeing him after those 15 years, he didn't know I was coming. I didn't with ARC.
Wow.
He graduated from our programs in the ARC programs. And there was 4 family members. It was like 3 wives and me and 80 graduates. And
Wow, 80, huh?
I don't like public speaking, but that day, I remember they said, families want to come up here and talk. And I like jumped up and I was like, I haven't seen my brother for 15 years. And I said, why? And then I said, but this is the work I've been doing. I talked about how it's impacted me as a sister, as a family member, how the prison politics have just partly had a part in destroying our relationship and where we're at now. And we were in the beginnings of building that. And I just like showed up. I mean, literally when he came out of the doors to go sit down, he was walking next to Joseph Osorio was in front of him.
Oh, Joseph.
Just his wife was there. Dominique Tank's wife was there at the time. And then somebody else's.
That's fine.
Yeah. So he looked at me and I didn't recognize him and he didn't recognize me.
That's great.
That span of time.
That's how long it was.
Like he had glasses on. Like, oh.
Look older.
Yeah, older, gray hair. Gray. And we like double take because we don't like really recognize each other. That was pretty wild. But like, we had smiles on our faces like kids. We were just so excited to see each other. It was very like healing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was my first time seeing him, and it was in prison when I went in with ARC, and then I got up and spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It was wild.
Yeah.
That's super wild. How's your brother now? Like,
he is okay. He is not at Ironwood anymore because they flipped the yards. Point wise, he was still on an override.
oh, okay.
His points were so high.
Wow.
So when they flipped the yards at Ironwood, they shipped him
Back to his
to level 4.
To level 4.
Hurting for the last year,
Oh, for
trying to adjust to
So he couldn't go to.
in this before.
Oh, he's in that mindset. Yeah, he's like, damn, going backwards, basically.
It feels like it, yeah.
And he wasn't able to go to another programming yard, like another override yard?
Not at the time because he got a write-up like 2023, summer of 2020.
is he like going to board soon or anything?
He's postponed it twice.
Yeah. To get ready for it.
Next year. Yeah. So it'll be like 3 years after the write-up.
Gotcha.
Or maybe longer.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because he would have probably looked at a denial because of that write-up.
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But has he had all the, like, like certificates for like taking.
Yeah, he's been doing
Good.
work, college work. He has his degree in there, Gut's degree in there, and he's been doing every single group and running groups at, doing everything.
Yeah.
But he relapsed in 2023, and that's and then
Yeah, it's not easy to try to get your life together in there and still deal with like everything that's going on around you. And, like that's probably one of the hardest things you can do.
Because you are tested too. A lot of people are tested. You see it, especially with lifers when they're in there. They're doing their times and
bored. So I think
he's stressing.
He was really having a hard time with. He was freaking out about going board.
Yeah, because it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like man, you don't want to mess it up. And sometimes if they feel like you're not ready, they tell you to come back like in 6 years, maybe even longer. And then you're like, man, I don't want to mess that up. So I'm going to postpone it 2 years rather than like 6. And it's not like 2 days or 2 months. It's
years.
Right.
Yeah, so you think about all that stuff. So
been to board once and he got a 7-year denial.
7-year denial. See,
how many years ago was that?
That was 8 years, 9 years.
9 years. Wow.
And it's
postponed twice.
I didn't go to board. I didn't have to, but I can only imagine how like heartbreaking that must feel to get denied. Because you go in there hopeful, obviously, like, man, hopefully I get this, this board to grant me a parole date or whatever. And then to hear like, oh, we feel like you're not ready, come back 7-10 years from now when you are ready. And you're like, man, I'm trying to survive every day. Like, you think I'm gonna make it, 7 years? Like,
and it's not like the environment is supporting your rehabilitation. How do you get ready?
Yeah.
Get out.
And also, there's some things that happen that are outside of your control, like. And any little thing, any little write-up will throw you back.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of my friends go through that, and it's stressful, But also, I wanted to ask you, how was, like obviously, you met me in there and a bunch of other people that were formerly incarcerated, like Tanks, like Joseph Osorio. Like, how was, meeting us in there and then seeing us outside, and like, how was that for you?
Amazing. I remember when I was at the ARC office and Joseph Osorio was the first one that I met who came home from like the time that I spoke. Right. And I went up to the front. I happened to be at the front desk. Nobody was there. So I answered the phone and he was waiting. I don't know for who. And then when I put the phone down, he pulled me aside. He told me like, oh, he introduced himself. And I just like hugged him because I met his wife. She was sitting next to me that event inside. And I just felt like this is my brother. Like I automatically adopted him as my brother. And then that ended up happening with at least like 20 other people after him, where they just kept coming, like from Ironwood Sea Yard, including you.
Yeah.
Where I was like, wow, these are my brother. I felt a closeness because you guys know my brother, especially for those that really interacted closely. So like Mark Taylor too.
Mark Taylor. So many that have come home that were lifers too.
And that were lifers. And that's the other thing that I think about when it comes to like the policies that that I have helped to pass, right? So like when they say, I was at a dinner a couple months ago, and I didn't realize like there was like 5 former lifers at the table. And I was there for one of them.
Yes.
And the one guy, he says like, he tells his friends at the table, he said, oh, Zeara and Darlene helped to pass, they had to do with passing 260 into SB 261. And And they all like, and then he points at all of them and he said, who was affected by 260 and who was affected by 261? And they like raise their hands.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
And
It was huge.
I don't think about that, right? I don't think about that often. But to see the fruit
Yeah.
is incredible.
What a blessing.
It's total blessing. I'm like, wow, I got to see, I get to see this. Because at the time, you know, you're fighting for something, but you don't know if you're going to get to see
If it's going to pay off.
or like, and that's years ago. And so, but to see so many people coming home and that are impacted, and like when I do get to talk to them, or if they say like, hey, thank you for the work you did and on this bill, I'm like, oh, like I don't think about that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's changed so many lives, ours included, you know, and a lot of our friends. Like if it wasn't for that, many of, you know, our peers would probably still be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, and because of that, now they come home. Some have, you know, kids, their parents now, you know, and everyone's like, mostly everyone's gone on to like accomplish great things and live out their lives, you know. So it's for sure always appreciated the hard work, and thank God for you guys.
Yeah, especially during that time. Like how we keep saying there was like no hope.
Yes.
SB 260 to SB 261 did that.
All right.
Just changed the whole atmosphere in there. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
people were walking different. People were happy. All we'll do is talk about SB 260. Was it gonna kick in? Is it retroactive?
I used to, I used to call all the time, like, hey, is it retroactive?
Yeah, is this shit? When does this kick it in? Does it mean we're going home like in a few months?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on? I used to call every day.
When is this kicking in? What was it? And I'll be at the law library, like, what? What do I need to fill out?
Taking all the classes.
Juan, were you affected by it too, right? Weren't you affected?
I had a juvenile life without parole, so
Oh, wow.
Oh, Franklin hearing.
I had to wait for the Prop 57. I didn't even see that.
Which ARC pushed that as well? You guys pushed.
We did.
Yeah. Damn.
I didn't even see that coming. I had to really like give up all hope.
You're like, I'm just, this is my life.
Yeah, when I appeal, everything had already like got denied and everything.
It's why.
Wow.
14 years. It
Wow.
was already like 14 years down the line. I was like, all right, I'm never getting out. And then it's like,
Quan had life. Yeah, LWAT,
And then
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Crazy. And look at them now.
And then they called me for court and I refused it. I didn't want to come down to LA.
Little did they know he was about to get released.
I was like, well, they're going to just resentence me to 25 to life. You know, they're going to take the LWAP because I was a juvenile. And then I was like refusing. It was like a whole scene.
Wow.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for the trip. I haven't seen LA in a long time. And then I was like being a little kid about it. I gave away my TV. I was like, keep everything. I'm not coming back to this shit. And I never went back.
Man, just like that.
Amazing.
Thank God.
Why not?
Thank God, Juan. Blessings, yeah. And Zeara, you're a woman of faith, right? How has faith helped you in your work? You know, because obviously God is using you to help people. You work with people a lot. So how has that been for you?
It's been necessary. It's been grounding. It's been an anchor. It's a battle. Like God is needed in this work. Well, in all realms, but it's for me. I feel called to this work, so it's like I don't think that I would be here without God's directive, like saying like, this is where I want you. This is your assignment. And so now that's more clear to me because I've had so much like practice in my faith and just discipline in it. But it's what I rely on, you know, to get me through every day. But God has played a major role in in the work that I do. I feel like he tells me timelines for things. Like, hey, this is what I need you to do right now. This is when your season is over for this. I feel a lot of guidance and direction spiritually in this realm, even if it's like, okay, this season is over. It's time to do this now. Or even when I left ARC, and that was like really hard for me. I felt like God was like, it's time for you to go, and you have to go like heal your body, your mind. And I did that, but I'm still doing it. But
Nice.
And what was part of that healing journey for you? Like I saw you went like on a solo trip to Spain.
We need to hear that.
Yeah. How was that?
oh my gosh. So in May of 2023, I woke up one day. I was super burned out. I had been at ARC almost 9 years officially at that point, but I was volunteering before that for like 2.5 years. So the ARC for a while. And I woke up one day and I was like, I remembered Father Greg Boyle, right? Homeboy mentioning the Camino de Santiago and saying like, you need to do this, to take a break, right? To don't burn out, like take some time. I remember him just like recommending it to different people all the time. And didn't know what it was, didn't do a lot of research. But when I woke up in May that day, I remember Googling it. I Googled it. What is Camino de Santiago? I'm hearing his voice. Googled it. And the next day, I told my daughters, I'm going to do this pilgrimage. And I still needed to research it. I didn't know what it was about. In fact, I just knew that I was going to go. I made a commitment, and I didn't tell a lot of people. I told my daughters because they're my closest girls, my closest people. And then I started researching and doing taking the REI trips, like going to the stores and like checking out sleeping bags,
getting your camping stuff,
gear and backpacks. But I literally took 4 months of planning.
4 months, yeah.
And I was going to take a break from work, just like, let me take a couple months. And like my body was like, you don't have an option. It's time to go. You got to take a break. Right? And those were my conversations with work. I was like, hey, I'm going to take a couple months. Like, I can't. It's that or I have to leave.
Yeah.
I just can't do this anymore. And then as it got closer to the time, I decided to go in September. I was like, okay, September is good weather. I'm gonna take this pilgrimage in September. And then I ended up quitting instead. Just like completely left the job, left ARC, and felt like that was what I was supposed to do. Take a one-way ticket, Zeara, and start walking. And so I found out the routes in Spain. I flew out of here September 8th, 2023. Started walking September 12th. Took a few trains into the small town in France. And I walked 39 days, 500 miles.
39 days, 500 miles.
Yeah.
My gosh.
It was about.
Are you still walking right now?
39 days. That was all through that Camino, you said? Camino de Santiago?
Yeah. Close started in a little town in France. And then the next day I was in Spain, in Roncesvalles. And then it's the northern part of Spain. It's the longest. It's called the French Way. The longest of the different routes, the Camino, because there's different routes. You could start like in Portugal.
Oh, wow. And what's the story to that Camino? Like, is there like how did that start?
It's a Catholic pilgrimage. I'm not Catholic, and so to be honest, I didn't put a lot into like the research of the history of it. For me, it was very much like I'm in a lot of pain. I have a lot of grief, and I'm going to go pray
Nice.
all these hours. And I did that. Like I was walking 8 to 10 hours a day and I was in prayer. I was spending time with God. And it took me about 2 weeks to catch up with myself, I call it.
Oh, wow.
I felt like I finally came down mentally and like I was grounded. Like, I was present with every step as opposed to like my mind going.
Yes.
And
Wow.
I was completely present. Like just that's only what was in front of me is
Were you scared at all?
Yeah, so
Because you're obviously you're by yourself in a whole different country.
yeah.
I was afraid before I went. I was like afraid. And I started researching. Are there any like women solo travelers that have done this? I found 2.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I found 2. There are more.
Now 3 with you.
I mean, I met more while I was there, but as far as like on YouTube and Instagram,
Gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
And then, and I just, they had some videos on there. Like, once you start walking, the fear is going to go away. That was true.
Nice.
As soon as I started walking,
Was it beautiful? The atmosphere, like everything?
gorgeous. Yeah. So my first day 1 was 12 hours and the incline was ridiculous,
Yeah.
super steep. The Napoleon Pass. But I don't remember like the metrics or whatever, but it was, I was afraid and they say your camino starts when you start planning it.
Yeah.
And, I went through some of those fears and I like documented them too, because when I went into the REI, for example, the camping store and was looking for a sleeping bag, I was like, can you help me select the
Yeah.
And they say you don't need one, right? They say just take like a liner to the sleeping bag, like a silk liner, and you'll be warm. Well, come to discover in my process, I'm in the car. I was in there for an hour. I didn't find anything, or I didn't select anything. I got back in my car and I just started crying. And I was like, what is happening right now, Zeara? And I sat in the process of, I was trying to select something that was warm enough because I have childhood trauma around being cold. And so that started coming up. And it was very, very hard to think that this silk liner was going to keep me warm. And so I was like, oh yeah, my camino has officially started.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The healing.
That is the process. You begin to dig and you're present with things that come up and like
Yeah.
things are going to come up.
Yeah.
I got to
You gotta face them. Yeah. Damn.
daddy issues, mommy issues.
Yeah.
And what do you say, like, at the end of it, what's something that you really, like, took with yourself that you learned about yourself?
Mm.
Oof. I have to say that I learned that the grief in my life was so much bigger than I ever knew. Like all the loss that I had experienced from 4 years old, and my aunt committed suicide by gun in the house, to like after that, it just kept going, so much death, and then going into the gang world and experiencing a lot of death, and then going and doing this work and experiencing more loss. I didn't know how big that was for me. I didn't know that I was holding that in my body the way I was. And the biggest takeaway was how much healing I actually
Wow.
from like childhood and on. And so I became really present with that and giving myself permission to cry. Like when I was at ARC, it's like I'm losing some really close people. And I'm like, oh, but wait, I have to plan a vigil, right? Like you're in this administrative mode and you have to, that's your job. You're holding space for 150 people. So figure that out first. Meanwhile, this is like one of my closest mentees who was killed.
Damn. Yeah.
And me and Scott are ping-ponging it. Like, no, you do it. No, you do it. Like, I can't do this. I can't do, like because we share kids, right?
Yeah.
Not kids, but the youth that we love so much. And so I realized how much I swept aside to do the work that I was doing. And then I saw why God was like, oh no, you have to leave. It's time to go right now. I never thought I would come back to the work.
Yeah.
But because of how deep it was, how painful, I had some wailing moments because I didn't give myself that permission before. And all of a sudden I'm like a wailing mother, right? Like when she loses her child. And I went through that over and over. And it's crazy how I feel like God gave me certain people at certain times, like not all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even when I came back 2 months later, after being in Europe for 2 I had more people come up. And I remember just like buckling on my kitchen floor and just like allowing, right? Like, and that's my first time doing that. And it's like,
That's liberating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the fact that I never gave myself that permission, or like you're in survival mode.
Yeah. You don't have time for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have time for that.
So you refound yourself on that pilgrimage, you think? Believe?
I think I became a lot more present with my process and accepting of it. And I'm more open with it. I share it like shamelessly. I'm not afraid to cry, right? When others are like, oh, you don't have to talk about that. If I start crying, I'm like, I'm good with the tears.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
You feel comfortable.
Yeah. That's your testimony. Yeah.
So I learned to be present with where I'm at in my process and be okay with it.
Thanks.
Like, Zeara, you have a lot, so it's okay. Let it come up and to heal, to cry for it. Yeah.
So Sarah, what are you doing now, and what's next for you?
So my 2 years, I took 1 year off, and that whole time I was journaling, crying. That was my therapy, blogging. And then the following year, so like last year, I'm on the board of Green Arrow, which is a gardening organization.
Mm-hmm.
And we serve, we're like at ARC, Nolia with the youth,
Okay.
like with different youth in the halls. And so I've been on the board for a while, but then I started doing some consulting work. So I was doing that for 9 months. And then it still allowed me to be like in that therapeutic space, but like do work that I love.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, in the last 6 months, I took on a job with RAMP, which is the Restorative Academic Mentorship Program. And they have 3 houses for SYTF youth. So it's all of the 18 to 25-year-olds who would have gone to prison, but now are being allowed the opportunity to go to a less restrictive program, which is RAMP. So we have 3 guys' houses in the San Fernando Valley. And then I am at the girls' house. So we're the only girls' house for this population. And we're in LA. And so I came on board like 6 months ago to help build that out.
Cool.
Still helping people.
Mm.
Yeah, God still using you, and He always will.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
He
awesome.
calls me back to it.
How is it to like be able to like help the girls? Because you're more involved with the girls. How is that? Like,
Yeah. It's very different than working with the guys. I've worked with young men for so many years that I knew this would be different for me, largely because I had to process this. Like, why am I more hesitant to work with the girls? And it's because they are me.
they're mean?
They are me.
They're you. They're you.
So it's
Oh, yeah.
looking in the mirror.
Wow.
And it's like, two of them are moms, right? So it's like they were teenage moms and then they were incarcerated. And a lot of their experiences I've experienced. So it's like a lot of facing those things.
Yeah.
And so it's different in turn. Like the needs are different. It's beautiful at the same time because I understand them differently. Because it's more intimate, or at least I allow myself to be more emotionally intimate with the girls.
Right.
As we share experiences that are similar. A lot of traumas that we've experienced are similar. And so it is different in that sense. And also like it feels like a different sense of responsibility for me. Like the guy.
Personal too, right?
Yeah. With the guys, I got to have a little bit of a wall up. Like I'm not sharing my, like
guys don't share that much anyway.
these parts, you're just like, they know that I could relate because I was formerly involved in the streets. But like, other than that, it's like, that kind of.
It's almost like you're that person you wish you had back when you were a teenager pregnant.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
That's cool. What is like a message? Like if, like, let's say you're talking to your 15-year-old self. Maybe this message goes to young girls or young men out there that, live similar lifestyles. What is like a message that you want to give them?
I would say, man, people who have lived like I lived, I would say surround yourself with people. Hang on to the good people that are in your life. There are people that influence you, that want to help. In my life, they have been like a way out.
Or way out.
A way out.
Really?
And
like that. Yeah.
But mentors have been a big, like a ticket out of the hood, if you will, right? Like I have learned so much from people that just wanted, somehow I feel that God orchestrated for me to cross paths with certain people growing up, because I didn't have a lot of guidance from adults in my life. So I was working somewhere, and then like some people would just like gravitate towards me and like become mentors. And I really hung on to that. So I would say if there's even one person in your life, like hang on to them, hang on to the good in them. And if they're guiding you in the right direction. But that's one thing. Always have mentors and good people in your life if you can, because they're helpful to get out. And I'm looking at it from the lens of like people who have lived the life that I've lived. So it's not that simple complexity. I don't know the culture now in the streets, but then it just felt so hard to get out. So
that's a great answer, because you could probably do it alone, but it's just that much harder. But when you have someone that's been through it guiding you, or just has like your best interest, like that helps out so much.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because sometimes, you grow up in these environments and that's what you think, that's what life is, and that's what it is. And it's not into someone else who a different perspective of life or area comes in and, just opens up your eyes to what, life, there's more to life than you think,
Yeah.
Like, thank you, Zeara.
Zeara, we just want to thank you for being here today. Thank you for sharing your testimony with us, our audience. It's inspiring, and you've been so inspiring to us. You've seen us when we came home, and you helped out so much. So thank you for that. We thank God for putting you in our paths, because we were touched. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Zeara, for everything you've done and you continue to do. Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, for sure.
That's our way out, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.